Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back as we take a look at the energies of the Cancer full moon happening on January 6th, 2023 at 6:08 p.m. That is Eastern time, so be sure and adjust for your location on the planet. The first full moon of 2023 occurs at 16 degrees of Cancer in your chart. So this is the location and the house that you want to identify in your chart. Even if you don't have anything at 16 degrees of Cancer, you have the full 360 degrees of the astrological wheel in your chart. So you identify which house has that 16 degree point, as this is where the moon in Cancer is in its home sign. It's where it's the most comfortable. It feels good. It can really feel strong in trusting yourself, trusting what you're feeling. The moon in Cancer can be quite intuitive and sensitive. It's also where we tune in to how you're feeling inside and understanding too that part of what we are learning throughout this life is to continually honor the truth of our own energy. And this is something that the moon in Cancer wants you to really feel into, is to really be honest with yourself about what's happening, what's going on within you, and what you need. This is a very giving moon. It's very caring. It's very nurturing, to the point where you can really be concerned with how everyone else is doing, what they're feeling, what they need. Do you need some tea? Do you need a blanket? You can become a caregiver simply because it just feels good to give. But part of what the moon in Cancer is also working with is looking at, well, what do you need? And checking in on yourself and making sure that you're not over giving. You're not doing too much for others to the point that you're depleting yourself. So the full moon at 16 degrees, 21 minutes of Cancer is opposing the sun in Capricorn at 16 degrees, 21 minutes of Capricorn. And it's also, as you can see, experiencing a conjunction with retrograde Mercury. Mercury is moving backwards here and is at 17 degrees Capricorn, 43 minutes. And so this is the area of your chart where you're taking care of business, showing up, being responsible, aware of what needs your time, energy, and attention, what's in front of you, especially as we begin the new year, get back to work, get back to the office after the holidays, looking at everything that you need to catch up on. And with this Mercury retrograde, there can be actually a sense of it being handled, meaning the Mercury retrograde slows down the energy and gives you a sense of, okay, this is what I need to prioritize or reprioritize, reconsider, and look at again with fresh eyes. So this could be where we enter into January and we just need some more time to catch up with ourselves, to get on track. And I feel like this Mercury retrograde helps with that. And then as it approaches this conjunction to the sun is the bigger energy field. It is the solar consciousness of light, and it is life force. So when Mercury, the messenger, is conjunct the sun, Mercury is now receiving that information that the sun holds while also giving the sun information, because as the messenger planet, this is an energy signature of having details, information, something that you overlooked, something that you didn't catch the first time and it comes back around. So the Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun could be, again, you're seeing things that you missed the first time. And it also is the sun shining a very bright spotlight on this Mercury, really highlighting some things that you could even feel a sense of, I've got to take care of this. I really have to get this done now. I put it off. I delayed it. Now it's in front of me. So this conjunction with the retrograde Mercury happens throughout the year. And what it shows us is how it's okay to slow down. Mercury is the fastest moving planet. And during these Mercury retrograde phases, we have beautiful opportunities to really check in, come back to what's in front of us, look at where we need to focus and concentrate, and also where we need to say no. And that's one of the energies here that is quite strong with this Mercury and the Sun in Capricorn, is that there's things you could say, yeah, I don't have time for that anymore, or I thought I could handle that, but I've changed my mind, or I'm not going to go in that direction, or I don't want that anymore. There can be this conserving energy with Capricorn, which is understanding what matters and what doesn't. And maybe something you thought was important, especially in 2022, you're reassessing it and saying, you know, I really don't have much time for that, and I really don't want to invest in it. So this could be a full moon that you're realizing some things that you didn't see before in terms of what's in front of you, what's on your to-do list, what you need to take care of. Now, this energy between Capricorn and Cancer is the astrological axis of family, of parents, of the connections we have with those in our personal world, in our private life, and then what we have to do out in the world, where we contribute, we show up, we need to be responsible. And this being the axis of family, there could be things also that you're seeing or understanding around this part of your world, this part of your life. This is where you're also perhaps looking at where it's going to be important to carve out time for yourself, the downtime, where you don't have a ton to do or a lot in front of you, simply because every full moon is about balancing our energies, balancing it in a way that brings us into greater harmony, greater health, really enhances our well-being. And this could be a time too when you're understanding where you want to retract your energy. And again, because it's the family axis, the parental axis, as we mature and raise our consciousness, we learn to become our own parent. And sometimes the Cancer energy can highlight something that the inner child needs or wants, something that you're feeling. Maybe it's, it's vulnerable, it's sensitive. There could be something here that's going on internally. And Capricorn gives the strength to handle it, take care of it on your own terms, and to also be your own parent, your own adult. And so that is one thing to look at here, is as the year begins, if you are feeling overwhelmed, uncertainty, confusion, you're just figuring out your priorities, sometimes just taking a break and stepping back can illuminate what is important to you, or where your energy is naturally inspired or wanting to go next. So this is a self-care. This is a self-care check-in, especially after the holidays, and just coming back into balance with yourself, as well as monitoring, again, anything you've over provided, where you've been giving a lot outside of yourself, where, we can be swept away sometimes by the Capricorn responsibilities. And this is giving yourself some downtime to rest and recuperate. Also to trust yourself, because this is the internal personal world of your energy. And what is it saying to you right now as 2023 gets going? What messages are you feeling and sensing? Now, both the moon and the sun are squaring this Chiron, which has recently stationed direct and is moving quite slowly in January. And so the square to Chiron in Aries, this is maybe where you're not feeling so confident, or you're gathering the energy to get something moving or taken care of. Chiron in Aries can show where you feel different, where you feel like an outcast, perhaps where you're developing the courage to be more independent or to do something on your own terms. And there could be something here too where the focus on Capricorn is showing you what is a priority. I've got to do this, I have to do that. And then the square to Chiron was actually exact before this Cancer full moon. And that's because the sun was at 12 degrees of Capricorn 4 days before this full moon, so on January 2nd. And then the moon would have had an exact square to Chiron hours before the full moon is exact. So it's almost like both the sun and the moon already had their direct square to Chiron, which would have been the more intense square energy. And now the full moon is asking you to check in with how you're feeling after that exact square, and also perhaps reminding you that it's okay to take your time to regroup or to figure something out. This Mercury is also going to travel back to 12 degrees and make a square to Chiron here in January. So it feels like, because this Chiron in Aries is moving slowly, and it's not going to return to this degree point again, there could be something that you have been you've healed. It's something that you've already been working through. Like, this isn't new. This energy isn't new. It feels like there's already things you're aware of, and this is a checking in point with how that is moving forward, how you're able to, it's like taking care of the wound or taking care of the sensitivity, but not overly identifying with it. And that's the Capricorn detachment of, okay, yes, this is part of me, of what I've been moving through, what I've been, deeply working on in my own energy, which is Aries. And then the Capricorn reminds you to detach, to not take on too much, and sometimes just letting things be is how they heal. And maybe that's something too that you can check in on for yourself is, well, how is this going for me? And what can I just allow to continue to work its way through, and to step back from feeling like I have to control it? Because I feel like since this Chiron is showing up here, it just feels like there's something that is a check-in on the healing energy. And then we also have this Sun and Mercury and the Moon working with Uranus over here at 15 degrees of Taurus retrograde. Uranus will station direct this month, January. And once Uranus stations direct, all planets will be direct. But this adds in a liveliness. This adds in something interesting and exciting, a breakthrough, a breakout, because it's in a supportive sextile to the moon and a trine to the sun. So I feel like there's something here where you could surprise yourself by what you want to do next. You could surprise yourself by what messages are coming through your intuition. There could be a sense of, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to see what happens. Like, there's that unexpected quality to Uranus that can be exciting, that can be a wonderful breakthrough in something that felt too heavy. And so this Uranus was, or the sun was exactly trine Uranus a day before the full moon. So we're going to have a good 3 days or so of these two planets here in Capricorn trining Uranus, and that feels energizing. That feels like something rising up and giving you maybe a sense of direction or a purpose, a new something that maybe you're even ready for right now. Now, because Uranus is direct, maybe it's not new. It's retrograde. Before it stations direct, maybe it's something that you've already been considering, working through, pondering, And now you've got that spirit of new beginnings, and you're like, I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to go for it. Why not? So this could be an energy that helps move anything that is tense or stuck. This is something too that could be, again, happy surprises and developments that help take you forward, that help move things along. Now we still have this Mars retrograde and moving so slowly in January. Mars only moves 2 degrees in January, starts the month at 10 degrees, goes back to 8 degrees where it spends most of the month, and then ends January again at 10 degrees after stationing direct. So this energy here of Mars moving very slowly in Gemini, because he's preparing to station direct January 12th. This Mars is spinning his wheels. There can be a restlessness. There can be like a let's go, let's go, let's go. But I have to move slowly, because as the planet moves retrograde and prepares to station direct, it's similar to moving reverse in your vehicle and then applying the brakes, coming to a full stop, changing gear, and then putting your foot on the gas. So this is a slowing down Mars that is actually wanting us to be more mindful of what we're ready to take action on next. It's almost like really think through your words, really understand what you're choosing. And that's part of the Gemini experience, is that we have choices, options, possibilities. What are you choosing? And maybe that won't be clear for a little bit in the Gemini areas of your chart. Okay, so this is where we have been slowing down, revisiting, and looking at some areas of our lives that need us to think things through in a different way. And Gemini is often all about in the moment. It's the information that comes through now. It's the text message that shows up on your phone now. It's what's going on around you, what's local, what's familiar. So there's a sense here of, even if your immediate environment where you have Gemini in your chart has felt like it's slowed down, there's a catching up here in January. So instead of spinning your wheels, doing donuts in the parking lot, this is where you could be very intentional and say, okay, I'm really going to think this through. And it would be wise to look at, well, what do I need to write out or make a list or talk it through, or allow that it's like that busyness. You know how there can be a sense of just doing things to do things? This is where, no, I'm going to be very clear in what I'm doing, and I'm going to work with the energy intentionally. And that is just a good thing to keep in mind throughout January, since Mars is moving so slowly. Now, if there is any tension that comes up during the full moon, family stuff, work stuff, every full moon illuminates. It shines a light. It's when the moon is at its fullest, its brightest. It reveals what you didn't see before, what you didn't feel before, something coming through. And because it's in Cancer, it can come through in a way that you feel it powerfully. And also maybe you don't quite have the words to describe it. It's just, you're sitting in something. But what is interesting is that because this full moon is at 16 degrees, the energies break through, and then the moon is going to trine Neptune. And then about a week later, the sun is also going to sextile Neptune. And when the planets do that, they're going to be open and alleviated from the mundane, from what doesn't really matter, from what is just passing through. Because this Neptune, through a supportive trine and sextile, helps you release something and say, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to carry that. I'm just going to let this flow. I'm just going to flow with it. And I'm really going to only, keep my energy on today, on the present moment and not wander off and go down all these different potentials or timelines. I'm going to just simply allow myself to keep trusting what I'm in and what I'm moving through. So it feels like this Neptune is going to help remind us of what is truly important, and that could provide a nice perspective from anything that you feel is really important in January. It's almost like this Neptune is always about the dissolving of our physical world. It sort of reminds us that nothing lasts forever. Everything is going to shift and change. Breathe in, breathe out, and know that you can take care of all of it in its own timeline and in its own way. So as the first full moon of 2023, we are invited into ourselves to check in with what we need, how our energy is doing, what is supporting you, what is good for you, not just what is good for others or what you need to take care of. And this is also a full moon to understand that things this month can't be rushed. January is a slower moving month, and that's because of this retrograde Mercury, retrograde Mars, and even the slowness of Chiron, the slowness of Uranus. It's a bit like we're just kicking things into gear here. So it's a good month to gather your energy together, ground it in with the power and strength of Capricorn. Really look to, I'm getting the visual of how to run energy up your spine from the earth, something that is stable and strong. Call on that to support you or to help you develop more of the strength in yourself. And I'm seeing it as the energy moving up the backbone, up through all 7 chakras as well, and just feeling very strong in who you are at this time. Because as we move through this year, we are going to have more big energies to work with and work through. And so Capricorn season is a really powerful time to be in the mastery of your energy, to be in the mastery of all that you are and all that you are continuing to develop, build, and grow. So wishing you a beautiful Cancer full moon. Also a happy new year as 2023 gets going. And be sure and check out the 2023 Soul Growth Astrology program I have for you so that you can see the big astrology of the year ahead. You can understand what is coming up in your chart, what is going on for you, and the particular themes, lessons, and potentials that the year ahead are going to bring up. So I'll be back here soon with another video for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you a beautiful Cancer full moon and take good care. I'll see you soon.